Vai tava problēma ir tā, ka esi sieviete? Mēs to atrisināsim. Mīļās dāmas un cilvēki, esiet sveicināti podkāstā starp mums, meitenēm runājot ar Džemmu sudrabu. So this is a podcast recording, and we are usually recording these podcasts in Aleponi in Riga, and we do recordings actually once a month usually, and we talk to different women or people who identify as women, and we talk about kind of current things that are happening with women's rights and women's issues, and kind of are trying to bring in the women's perspective into many discussions that we are having today. Over in Latvia and then in Komet, we realized that there's like so many women that we should bring into the conversation, and so we're going to try to do the podcast recordings also in English as well. And yeah, now our podcast actually is supported by people who are listening to it. We are on Patreon, and we have almost 30 patrons who are supporting us. So it's really kind of has been a great experience that we can actually sustain our at least technical living of the podcast with the help of those who are listening. So my name is Džemmas and this is Brita Šave. Thank you for coming, Britta. So can you tell me, how did you end up here in Kometa?
I ended up in Kometa because Matthias, who I'm here with, Adolfina Fack, was doing music yesterday, and he told me about the festival, and we figured out that my workshop, that I did yesterday, I did it already 1 year ago in another festival in Germany. And we had the feeling it would fit really well, to this program. I think it's not working anymore. And so, he connected me to Lien, and then we met in Berlin. This was really nice because Lien was there for work, and then we had a beer all together and spoke about the workshop and about the festival. And I had the feeling that it was really amazing festival, and it was nice to not only be the company but also to contribute something to the festival.
And what was kind of the outcome that you wanted to see after the workshop? Because it was about mindfulness.
Yeah, it was about mindfulness, self-compassion. And I read a book about mindfulness, self-compassion, 1.5 years ago, and as I work as a psychotherapist in Berlin, I also applied it into my work, and I found it really interesting attitude, and so I wanted to speak about it and also give the people the ability to explore it a bit more in the mindfulness exercises. So maybe I can talk a bit about what I did in the workshop. The idea of mindfulness self-compassion is that many of us have the tendency to push very hard on ourselves and to expect from ourselves way more than we expect from others. And the idea is to treat ourselves as kind as we treat other people. Of course, with a good friend, many times we can be forgiving, and if something on their work, a presentation, anything didn't go that well, we still see the person as a valuable person, and with ourselves we are many times way more judgmental, and I think it's really unfair. So the idea is also to show vulnerability and
so when you tell this, it makes sense, right? We should be as forgiving to ourselves as others, but then when something happens, although maybe in your mind that it's not something important, you haven't really fucked up, but then you kind of go back to these situations, or you struggle with anger towards yourself or with shame, and although with your brain you understand that it's just it's a stupid situation, you have to move on, but then the night creeps on, and you just, it goes through your head again and again and again. Like, so how do you kind of go from knowing that you should not do this to not doing this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're completely right. Like, just like the knowledge of, it should be like this doesn't help that much. I think, it's the feeling that is deep inside ourselves, and it's also like our capitalistic society that is not really helpful in being compassionate with yourself. So and there, the mindfulness comes into the game because mindfulness means to just perceive what there is. Like if there is any feeling like anger or shame, whatever, or like some uncomfortable thought about yourself. Many people are like over-involved with this. Like as you said, like you're dwelling about this and you can't let it go. And so mindfulness tries to go back to just perceiving, okay, I'm having this I'm having this thought.
So how does it work? Is it like, am I lying somewhere, at night in my bed and I'm like thinking about this and accepting it? Like there are different ways. It can be like some formal meditation practice, like where you can lie in the bed or sit somewhere and like let your thoughts run through your head in a way, and also like you can imply mindful thoughts, like at first perceiving like all thoughts that are there, and then like implying mindful thoughts. But I think that it's also possible to do it in an informal way, like as in a daily life, when there like occurs some thought, or if you're feeling in a bad way, like taking a step back, like just perceiving, this is how it is, and then not immediately trying to make this emotion go away, but recognizing, I'm vulnerable right now. I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling ashamed, and asking yourself what you need in this shitty state of mind, like caring about yourself, like as you would do with a good friend, like for example, like not pushing hard and not trying to do better, but like, I don't know, having a good food or something like this. Yeah. Well, a typical thing that happens when shit like this happens is that you have a glass of wine or two, but then I'm thinking that this wine medication, especially for women, is something that, even if, you break your shoes when you go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, and your friends write to you on Facebook, okay, I think you need wine now. And I'm thinking, okay, are we overusing the wine meditation too much? And then I read about this, that women actually sometimes consume more alcohol because they have these overwhelming responsibilities that they can't handle, and the only way how you can handle is with drinking. And then sometimes I feel guilty again about that as well, that I'm maybe drinking wine just because I can't handle the stress of going around. Right.
Yeah, and I understand. And then I think like for the short time it works, like having a glass of wine, then you're probably feeling more relaxed, but I think the long term, like there it has coast, and probably the next day you're thinking, wow, again I handled it with wine and I should have treated myself better. So I think there again would come mindfulness in an informal way into the game, like perceiving, wow, this is a situation where I'm doing unwell, and like what can I do now for myself that really is beneficial for me, like in the short and in the long term way. And I don't know, I think it's also fine to sometimes then decide to have a glass of wine, but maybe sometimes it's also not the right thing. And then I think, but for this it's important to take a step back, like because I think many times it doesn't like we just don't want to feel all those feelings that are there, and like all the emotions, they are like we all have those negative emotions. And then I think the question is also, why is it so bad to feel uncomfortable? Like I think we all need to embrace more that it's just normal to be uncomfortable and like to have those emotional states of mind. Like we can't get rid of them.
So if a person is an architect, then when he or she goes into an apartment, usually people ask like, yeah, well, look at my apartment, should I renovate something? Can you give me your opinion? So if you're a therapist, if you go to a party, do you have people coming up to you with a glass of wine and like, I want to talk about my mother, I really hate her?
Yeah, definitely. Like people are doing this, but
and then you issue an invoice. Like it was 12 minutes of conversation, it's 65 euros, please.
Yeah, okay, that would be a good idea. Yeah, no, I actually like don't like this approach so much. Like with my friends, definitely. Like I love to talk about all those therapeutic stuff, and like we counsel each other and speak about our emotions. Like that is really nice. But like, strangers approaching me on a party, I don't like this too much. And also I don't take people that I know into therapy, obviously, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you are in a relationship, is the other person sometimes saying that you are doing a therapy on them that they haven't agreed on?
No, I don't think so. I am in a relationship and the person is in the public, so we actually had a conversation. I think I asked about this like some days or weeks ago, and no, my feeling is that we both like to speak about all this emotional stuff and self-discovery and whatever, so no.
Because a friend of mine went to NLP courses, neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah.
And so I really despise these courses. I think that they are manipulative. They teach a person not empathy, so they kind of learn the empathetic way, but from the other way around, from the manipulative state of mind, kind of, because you want to get something from these people, not that you want to help them. And well, his boyfriend said that, you don't try these things on me, because every Wednesday he goes to the course, and then they meet at home, and he's always trying a new technique on his boyfriend, because he just, he really wants to use it somewhere. And I noticed also these, sometimes a person finishes NLP courses and then is immediately strangely compassionate. How are you feeling today? And I'm like, oh, odd question. And so yeah, what did I want to? So you talk about shame. Where does shame come from?
Where does shame come from? Shame actually, like, I need to think about where shame comes from. I think shame has to do with the fear of disconnection. Like we are, like all those, emotions that make us feel unwell, like shame and also anger, like when we have them, like we feel disconnected from other people, and with shame, I think the point is that, like when we are shamed, like we have the feeling like to got caught, like wow, somebody saw now that I'm actually like a bad person, or that I'm actually not that smart and everything, so we have the feeling that we get discovered, and then we will get excluded. Then like the people don't want to be with us anymore. And so shame and guilt, like they are, I think, very strong emotions, like that people can suffer a lot from. And
like what's a better method when, when, for example, you are feeling angry at your let's say co-workers for treating you in a sexist way, for example. Yeah, that makes you angry, that makes you feel guilty that you're angry maybe, so it kind of creates this vortex of really horrifying feelings. And well, you can be mindful about it, and then you can try and talk to that person, so kind of try and change their attitude. What is a less harmful way how to deal with this? Accepting how you feel and not doing anything about it, or kind of showing your anger or discontent?
I think anger always has to do with that, yes, our boundaries are not respected, like probably like the co-worker didn't respect your personal boundaries, and so yeah, maybe like I think if it's possible for you, then it's good to mention this also. Like then it's good to share how you felt like with this with this behavior. And for me sometimes it's when I'm really angry, then it's better to take a step back to reflect on what I want to say or whatever, because like when I'm really emotional, then it's mixed with a lot of things, and as you said, then it's sometimes there are many emotions at the same time, then mixed with guilt and everything. So if that's possible, but I feel that's really high art, then it's good. Then it can be helpful, to take a step back and like reflect on it. But I think like if somebody treated you in a bad way, then it's good that the other person knows, so that it won't happen again.
Well, I think it's kind of one of the great mysteries of life, in finding situations where you had to wait a bit and not say anything, and just wait it out, and then you realize that it wasn't really worth your anger or fear, or just even doing anything about it. And then from the other side, finding the right witty words or phrases which to say when it's really necessary. Because sometimes a situation happens, and then 20 minutes pass, and you're like, I should have said that thing, but it's too late. And I wish, like, if I could have a superpower, I would want that one, kind of to have the wittiest reply possible. But it never happens. I don't know. It just comes up later on.
Yeah, for me it's absolutely the same. And then in a situation where you don't see the person again, like then you just can't do anything about it. But maybe then it's also then you at least know what you would have liked to say, and maybe at the next time you would say it then. And like with one friend of mine, like we are a lot over talking again, like also situations that happened before and how we felt there with each other, and I have the feeling that's really helpful. I also like when other people tell me, I didn't feel that good with you in that situation, because then we can, it also tells me a lot about myself, and then we can figure out what this has been, and
So you are also doing queer therapy?
Yeah.
What does that mean, really?
Okay, queer therapy sounds a bit strange. It's not actually queer therapy. It's like I work a lot with people from the queer community, and I'm also like, how do you say, like for trans people who are doing the transition, like they need, I don't know how it's here, but like in Germany they need therapy, like to get the hormones, and afterwards operation and everything. And I'm doing this, I would say it's Begleittherapie in German, like accompanying them, like in this process. Actually, it's really new to me, because I got independent, like opened my own thing like some months ago, like in May actually. So I'm really, really happy about this, and I because like I'm there in a practice with another person who works a lot with people from the queer community, and via her I get so nice clients. And it was like last year I decided that I would love to to focus more in my therapeutic work, and that I would really like to work with people from the queer community, like and with trans issues, and so it was really nice to now that I decided doing it, that all those nice people are coming, and I have the feeling like my therapeutic work changed a lot through this. And
is it possible that the person comes into therapy and decides that he or she doesn't want to transition?
That he or she doesn't want to, like during the therapeutic process? Yeah, for sure. Like I see my role like really just like with trans people just as an accompanier. I don't know if it's the correct word in English, but just being there with the person and figuring out how everything feels, like until which steps the person wants to go, whether it's taking hormones, whether it's even an operation, or whether it's while taking hormones deciding no. Now I don't want to do this anymore, and and stuff like this. So definitely, like it could also happen that somebody would say, no, actually I don't want to continue with this. I don't see anymore that being trans is a concept for me. Actually, I'm as I started recently, like in May, I'm still in the starting process of all the therapies, so it didn't happen yet, but I'm open to everything.
Well, I think, this is one of the great things about maybe Germany or Berlin, is that, there are these many opportunities for people kind of to find out things about themselves, who they are, and how they want to live their lives. Because, for example, here in Latvia, for example, if you're a part of LGBTQIA community, or if you, for example, want to divorce your husband, then you have to be really careful with the psychotherapist that you're choosing. And this is something that I realized just recently, that, you might go to a therapist who is really pushing you to stay with your husband, because it's very important for children. You will traumatize your children if you are going to be divorced. And is it really so bad? And all the marriages have these problems, and sometimes people cheat on you, but the main thing that you have to survive through is the marriage for the children. And you might go and see a therapist like this, and he will just really fuck you up, right? And or maybe he will save a marriage. Like, I don't really think so, but well, that's also possible. And also, if you're gay, you might go to a therapist who is all the time asking questions like, but let's talk about your mother and your relationship with your mother, because probably mother is the one who is guilty that you are gay. And because we never ask these questions to heterosexual people, like, how did it happen? Like, what happened to your relationship with your father that you're not gay? And I think that this is the scary part, actually, that and we had this conversation with our LGBT association, Mosaic, as one person from there, that we need a list with safe psychotherapists who you can go to, right? Because you don't want to get into a reversive therapy or something like that.
Yeah, and in Germany, also in Berlin, there are also existing those lists. Like, actually, I also living in Berlin. Like, I have the feeling I'm there in a bubble that is like really open-minded, queer sensitive, and everything. And so sometimes I don't see that there are also in Berlin those many other people. And there are mosquitoes everywhere. And so to me it also happened that their clients and patients approached me and told me about their horrible experiences with a therapist who saw his goal in letting the trans person discover that she has a mental illness and is not trans, and it's really so horrible that there are still those therapists, like they should be forbidden, but like in Berlin there are also a lot of clinics where people are really not treated well, and like this the processes of transitioning are so much like delayed for those people, because if you don't know about this, then you can be stuck in a therapeutic process like this for 2 or 3 years. Nothing happens to you because the therapist doesn't write you the necessary papers, and then it also happens that the insurance company afterwards complains, because the insurance company then says, yeah, but you already did a therapy, and now you, after 80 sessions there, you can't get any more therapy, and then you have to fight again for like getting the therapy that you need at the therapist that you need. So it's, yeah, also there are many problems like this.
But there was this story about how the American Psychotherapist Association at one point decided that being gay is not a sickness, right? It's not a not really a disease, but that, you know, these are healthy people. That at one point closeted gays overtook the association's board, and then, well, it's a true story. It does like it's kind of an inspirational gay LGBT history lesson, and many of them were closeted, some of them weren't, and then they were using like real-time examples. And then there was this guy who was wearing a mask, and actually he was a therapist, and he went in to kind of tell his story. And so they shifted the attitude, and it seems that there is a need for another shift as well right now, because I think that there is a division in between psychotherapists on like how should the trans issue, or I don't know, situation be solved or looked at.
Yeah, so you mean that there needs to be a shift in the therapeutic approach.
But you're probably having discussions in your conferences and stuff, right, about this?
Yeah, I'm not like about how bad it still is, the situation, or what do you mean? I'm not sorry.
So probably there's a lot of therapists who think that, you know, it's an illness that has to be treated. And maybe it's a physical illness, maybe it's a mental illness, and then there are those who are helping people to transition. But I don't think that there's like an overall universal view on how this has to be treated.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and I definitely think that this needs to change, and that. I think the visibility of trans and queer people should, I went to a lot of psychotherapeutic seminars, and also for example, if there's talked about sexual therapy, it's never about lesbians, gays, trans people, and so I think it should be more incorporated in all in all spectrums of therapy. And I was when I decided that I want to work more with queer people, I was looking for seminars on all the legal issues about transitioning and everything, because I read a book about it, but still very complex. And I found one in Hamburg, but that was also part of a whole seminar program, and then only one day about queer people, which I found really not a lot. And my colleague who I'm working with now, she does those workshops, seminars in Berlin, which is really good. And I think there need to be more of those things that are held by people with a good attitude, because there are those two sides in a way.
And so if someone has a friend who is thinking about transitioning, or really knows and feels that doesn't fit into the binary, how we should talk to that person, and what questions should we ask, or I don't know, like how to deal with it if you're a friend and you don't want to ask the wrong questions or speak about the wrong things.
Yeah,
because it's a very, it's a very tricky situation, because sometimes I also say something and a friend of mine says, well, this was actually transphobic, and I didn't realize that sometimes things that I'm saying are not very sensitive, right? When you don't know how the community is feeling, or how they're treated, or what issues they're dealing with, then it's really easy to be insensitive.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But like my approach, if I get to know a new person, also in a therapeutic context, I always tell the person, okay, if there's anything like what I said to you, what I asked, where you felt uncomfortable with, like just tell me. And I have the feeling, like when you're telling this a person in the beginning, then there's a space to ask a lot of things. And I have the feeling better to ask one question that may be a bit uncomfortable than like to not ask out of the fear that it could be wrong. Like, I think it would like the other person can help you. Then you can tell your friend, okay, if there's something that you don't want to talk about, just tell me, like with any other topic.
Because I think it's really important for people to kind of fit people into like boxes, like this is a woman, this is a man, well, this is heterosexual, this is a gay guy, this is a lesbian, and it's really kind of, it compartmentalizes things in your brain, and then you feel safer. And whenever someone doesn't fit into these boxes, then it makes you feel uncomfortable. And I've been thinking a lot about, like, I have the kind of an urge actually sometimes to ask a person if, like, how do you identify as a woman or as a man, or are you gay or you're not really gay, like what's happening here? But I know that I should not be asking these questions, it's none of my business, but it's really, really, like, it's really hard. Like, and can you comment a bit on this, or urge to put people into boxes? Is it like a natural thing, or is it like more a cultural thing that we just, we do it because, it's just a normal societal thing to do?
Yeah, I think it's really a natural thing. It's something that we are born with in a way, because it facilitates our perception. Like if we, there are so many visual stimuli in our environment, so like then we see a person and then we categorize, it's a woman and probably heterosexual and everything. That makes it in a way easier for us. So yeah, to everybody of us this happens. Like to me it also happens very much in therapy, that like during the first conversation, like that's really
sorry,
the mosquitoes.
It's still there.
Yeah, why?
It's hunting.
Like I should have.
Wait. Oh, you just have to kill it.
That's wow.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
Sit.
You got it?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Well, there's another one, but you're safe for a while.
Did you use?
Yes.
Yeah. Normally they are.
Have it? Sorry.
Thank you. I sprayed on a mosquito.
It's very toxic.
Yeah. So, where have we been?
About
perception.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, like we all do, and I wanted to. Yeah, for me, it also happened like some weeks ago, where some women who wore like a lot of makeup, and she like in my perception, she looked like really like as a typical heterosexual person, and then she came with a super different story, and like I was surprised myself how much I have put her in this box, like because I saw her in the waiting room and I was thinking like, actually why does this woman come, like why did she choose to come here, because like really like all who came to the first sessions were from the queer community, and so I was wondering what is her approach, and then like I got surprised by my own like stereotypic categorization, and with what you said, like how people identify, like to ask questions about this, like I always also ask them in the first encounter, or actually I have a like paper where they fill in how the names and everything, and there I have a category of pronoma. I don't know if it's
pronouns.
Pronouns, like which pronouns they would like to use, like whether they would like to be addressed as she or he or whatever.
Do you have in German the they?
No, that's a problem in German.
So how do you do it?
Where there we have sie und like it's really binary there, and so I asked the person how would you like to be addressed, and some like even being binary like have a favorite, and then I address them with a favorite one, or there are also some who say doesn't matter, like however you want, and then I shift, like then sometimes I use sometimes sie. But it's actually shitty that in German there is no thing for in between, because people told me they feel really uncomfortable with always then being again confronted with identity.
So, but you haven't come up in German language with something new like sehr or I don't know.
Not that I know, actually. No. Like some people also say that they would like to use the they in German, but still that's also not very fluent, like, because then you're having German language and then some English word in between, so maybe for some people this feels more comfortable, but I think it's still some sort of compromise, like actually we would need a new word.
Well, I think it's overall a very interesting discussion about like the language, how it kind of makes a decision beforehand, like how you can kind of talk to other people, and it puts on limitations, and Latvian language also has a limitation, so we can say it, but then I think it's a bit demeaning. It has like not a nice connotation, because you know when. So it's not the nicest way how to say about a person who is not fitting into she or he kind of I don't know box. But for example, in Estonian language, which is not kind of connected to the Latvian language, although the countries are nearby, they have this option kind of to making a choice, and so it's I think it's very interesting that how sometimes a language can include different people, and then sometimes it doesn't, and you even can't come up so easily with like solutions, right? And because we were sometimes thinking and talking about the feminist, so is it a feminist woman is a feminist and a feminist man is a feminist, but then how can we kind of conjoin both of them, and then it should be maybe feministo or something like that, but it's awkward because it's not something that really comes in natural. And
definitely, like I don't know actually how it's in other language with the star, like do you use it in your language? Like we have like to include both genders, like we use how do you say, like Patient Sternchen innen, like and then if I would say the word I would make some space in between, like the normal female word is Patientinnen, and then I would say PatientInnen to include the male person and the female, and the like the star is for the like everybody in between.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm doing this, but still, it's you're having the space in between. It's not super perfect actually. Like it would be nicer if there would be like a word where you wouldn't have to do the space always.
Yeah. So well, in Latvian language, actually, usually if you want to say something gender neutral, you just use the masculine term. So it's humans and patient. And well, I can't even can translate it into English anyway. But
and that's actually, but then not gender neutral anymore.
No.
Like in Germany, you're also like it's normally it's always mentioned only the male version, and then sometimes when I'm using the female version, like you're getting asked like, oh, you only treat women as a patient, like, because you said Patientin, and that's like, then you only have women. And like, but if I would say Patient, nobody would ask about this. And so that's super strange. Like, it confuses people if you're using the female form. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So, well, Marta, is there anything we should have discussed? No? It's okay? Does anyone want to ask a question, or is there something that we should have talked about? Okay, more or less no. Yes? No? Okay. Is there an example of how you have recently fucked up that you can share with us?
Let me think. Definitely there is one, but I will think about it. Like it's not something that is now a real super shame story, but actually like the most recent thing is like actually the beginning of the last week. It was like we already, because we had to get the car to come here, we had to start our trip on Tuesday, and I squeezed all my patients into Monday and Tuesday, and I was super stressed. Like I really wasn't with myself, and they're like I had this one session where I was only in the reaction mood. I wasn't with myself, and like I really wasn't able to because normally the expectation of myself is like when this happens to be able to share it with a person, and because so the other person won't get the feeling like it's his or her thing, and there I was like just like couldn't give the other person any comfort. I was so busy with myself, and afterwards I so much judged myself because I had the feeling like I don't know, you can't be like the one being vulnerable, like if there's somebody searching for help, and so
you have to leave your real life struggles outside of the office, or try at least.
You mean whether that would be my goal? Yeah, definitely. Like afterwards, I thought like I really need to, before going there, like take some time for myself and everything. And I think what there went wrong was that I was that bad with myself that I couldn't share how I feel, and so I think. This goes back then again to self-compassion. I think it's also, as a therapist, obviously, I'm not always doing it well. So, my goal is then, when this happens, to show the other person, like, whoa, I did a mistake, and da-da-da, or last session I said this, and I'm actually reconsidered it. I think it wasn't that well, because also, like, I think it's also important that a therapist is imperfect, because like people are coming with their topics and like all their worries about themselves, and like I think like I only want to share my stuff with a person that is also vulnerable and has their issues, because like otherwise I feel really bad.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing this, and thank you for being here, Britta.
Thank you.
Yes, so maybe a round of applause for Britta.